Developing speed is multifaceted and requires training methods that hit a range of different areas. And people think speeds improve through muscular development, and that's kind of true, but not in the traditional sense. You aren't going to get rapid hands by doing bicep curls. And so in this video, I'm going to be demonstrating 4 big ROI methods that result in efficient punches that are lightning fast and clean as a whistle. Welcome to this video, guys, which is going to be focused upon developing our striking speed. So what to expect in this video? We're firstly going to be speaking about the exercise hierarchy and the importance of using a broad range of training methods to hit all of the different areas. Why having solid technique is the absolutely vital foundation that everything else builds upon. Some common misconceptions about speed development, because my God, are there a lot of those. Detailed walkthroughs of all of the different methods so that you can apply them, and then a free summary of everything in the video if you stick around until the end. And the way I like to approach this kind of thing is to think about it like a hierarchy of training modalities that start with the broadest thing, then become more and more specialized as they go up the pyramid, basically. So we're going to be starting with things that involve our full body, then we're moving into more isolated exercises as we go up. The first thing that you might have guessed if you've watched any of my content is refining your technique. And you want to always begin working upon your technique primarily. As I'm always suggesting in any of my videos before any exercises, the main thing that you need to create is that foundation for yourself of good technique. Because trying to add any of these things on to bad technique is like trying to fill a bucket with holes in. You're always going to be playing catch up, and you're just not going to get the benefits that you otherwise could do if you developed that. It's about making everything efficient. And this is best developed through slow and mindful repetitions with good technique as you learn. Then when that becomes habitual, we build speed and power in. And it doesn't work the other way around. It works very simply in the sense that if you were attempting to sprint 2 distances at exactly the same speed, it's going to take you much less time to sprint 50 meters than it is to do 75. And just like with that analogy, if you've got low efficiency in your techniques, then you're having to move your body through more physical distance in the air, and so of course that's going to be slower. And the things that you want to watch out for are things like keeping your body tightly compact, not overextending in any movements, swinging out too widely on our hooks, for instance, or really overcompensating on anything which is going to compromise our balance and make us sluggish. And something you can focus on when doing this is working at consciously snapping your hand back to your guard as fast as possible. So imagine trying to snatch a ball from the position where your punch is fully extended. And what you're doing here is, rather than focusing upon impact or contact, you're more focusing upon that midpoint of the strike, which is often overlooked. And a lot of people will throw their strike out nicely, but then be quite lazy bringing it back. And really, a strike isn't completed until you've got your hand back to guard. People tend to punch out and drop it, and then it just looks really sluggish. And it tends to work better to develop speed than work on power afterwards, rather than learning to throw really heavy and then trying to get faster. So some key pointers for this: maintain core composure, hollow body. This is a theme throughout the majority of my videos. I've got loads of different things about it, so if you want to learn more about that, you can check out my channel. Hold hands high to guard, and this isn't just to protect ourselves, it also makes the technique more efficient because we're not extending from our waist, for instance, or we're not dropping the hands down, so everything is moving in a nice straight line. Keep your arms tight to your body. Use the non-striking arm to protect your chin. Rotate your body through the punches, another key thing here, so you're not just punching with the arms and you're really able to apply all of that good technique and that weight into the punches. And super important, remain relaxed throughout, because punching speed is not developed through muscular force, it's developed through relaxation and small contractions. And the next thing is skipping. Now this might be a surprise in a video about striking speed, but skipping provides a huge amount of auxiliary benefits that do contribute to speed as well. And skipping is one of the earliest traditional boxing training methods and has long been used as a tool for physical preparation for boxers. So it's hugely beneficial from a conditioning point of view, as well as for warming up. And it's something I typically use before every session, even to this day. If I'm not even doing purely martial arts stuff as well, I like to do a bit of skipping because it just prepares the body for physical activity in a really useful and holistic way. But it's also very good for plyometrics and improving what is called the reactive strength index. And the reactive strength index is a measure of reactive jump capacity and is an indicator of how well an athlete copes and performs with plyometric activities. And this is important to explode from the feet for dynamic footwork, but also for punching power, because all of the power that comes up through the kinetic chain starts with the legs. Skipping can be considered sub-maximal work, and this simply means less than the maximum level possible. So the maximum level would be where you're really exerting a lot of effort and it's difficult for you to do those activities. Submaximal is something similar but not as intense and doesn't take as much effort. So before doing more advanced plyometrics work, you really need that foundation of similar movements but to a lesser degree, as I've just mentioned. And skipping acts as like a prerequisite to more advanced plyometric work, meaning that when you do get to doing the advanced stuff, then you're going to get much more benefit from doing it if you've got that foundation of skipping or something else submaximal. And that's because skipping develops a tendon stiffness that can really transfer into dynamic footwork and more explosive punches as well. So you've got the more intensive plyometrics, things like pogos and depth jumps, and a range of different short ground contact time plyometrics, which are things like using the agility ladder and other agility drills that I've demonstrated in other videos as well. So when to include skipping? You can perform 3 2 to 3 minute rounds in a warm-up or cool-down period of your training sessions. You can also perform 1 3-minute round prior to steady state cardio, so something like a treadmill or other activity where you're just repeating the same thing all the time. And you can use it more intensely to spike your heart rate during circuits, so skipping is really versatile and has many different uses. Next thing we're going to be speaking about is plyometric push-ups. Plyometric push-ups are a great exercise for improving punch speed because they target explosive power in the upper body, particularly the chest, shoulders and triceps, which are obvious muscles that are very involved in our punches. And they focus on rapid muscle contractions which help develop that explosive strength you need for speed in combat sports. And this is why I'm a massive fan of this type of work, and I always say that it kind of mirrors the movements of martial arts, because when you're pushing up really hard from those push-up positions, it's very similar to the way we engage certain muscles when we're throwing our techniques. And the most simple of these is just the basic plyometric push-up, where you just perform like a regular push-up, but you push yourself a few inches off the floor at the extended position. And these are really helpful for improving fast twitch muscle fiber recruitment. So how to do these? You want to start in a regular push-up position, lower yourself to the ground, then push off explosively so your hands lift a few inches off the floor before catching yourself back on the way down. And you want to repeat this for 3 to 5 sets of 5 to 10 repetitions. Next are push-up jacks. And if you've seen any of my circuits or my other content, this is an exercise that I like to use a hell of a lot. They're similar to depth push-ups, but you just do them straight on the ground. So they're a bit more versatile and you don't need equipment. You can just do them anywhere. And they focus on rapid muscle contractions, which help develop the sort of explosive strength that you need for speed in combat sports. And they basically teach our muscles to absorb force quickly, then push off explosively, once again mimicking the contraction needed for fast punches. How I said, everything that you do when you're conditioning really should mirror the movements of the main skill or activity you're trying to develop in. So how you do these? Start in a regular push-up position and lower your body to the ground quickly. So it's almost like you drop, but at the same time, you shoot your feet out to the sides just past about shoulder width, catching yourself before touching down. So you want to end about 1 inch off the floor when you do this part. Then you push off the ground explosively at the same time, bringing the feet back to their original position. And you want to repeat this for 3 to 5 sets of 5 to 10 repetitions. Next one on this list is explosive incline push-ups. And the incline makes it easier to generate more explosive force, focusing upon that upper chest and shoulders, which are essential for rapid strikes. How we do these is we set up our hands on something with an incline. If you can see on these clips, I'm doing it on a bench. Then lower yourself into a push-up and explode upwards, trying to lift your hands off the surface with each rep. And the better you get at these, you're going to be able to push yourself higher and higher up until eventually you might even be able to do it where you're able to almost stand fully upright by exploding off of that object you're using to create the incline. And do these for 3 to 5 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions. The next thing that we're going to be speaking about is shadowboxing using weights. Now, it is debated whether this truly improves hand speed or it's more beneficial for shoulder endurance, but I've personally found some speed benefits from it. And in my experience, the function of this changes depending on the weight that you're using, which is why you only really want to use quite light weights to do it, 1 or 2 pounds. I think as you start to up the weight and use heavier weights, that's when it becomes more of a shoulder endurance activity. Whereas if we stick with those light weights, it's going to hit our speed much better. And it provides loads of benefits by enhancing our muscular endurance so that we can throw more strikes for longer, improving neuromuscular coordination, which is basically the connections between the muscles and the brain, or sometimes called mind-muscle connection. It improves your fast twitch muscle endurance, enhances muscle memory, increases shoulder and arm endurance, increases snap in our punches, which is obviously key in generating speed, enhances explosive capacity, and also increases speed under fatigue, which is super important in terms of combat, sparring matches and stuff, because when a person starts to get fatigued, even if they're the more skilled fighter, that's when someone who perhaps isn't as technically impressive, if they've got a better gas tank, can really take advantage of them. So that's a really important component. So how to do these then? You want to hold 1 to 2 pound weights in your hands and throw rapid, controlled combinations with good form. Perform for 20 to 30 seconds, then immediately drop the weights and continue punching without them for a similar time period. So you can see how you can build these into things like your shadowboxing rounds, okay? And when you do drop those weights, you'll notice an immediate speed boost because your body obviously hasn't got that weight. It feels much freer. And you want to focus on explosive punches, but without compromising form, because we do not want to repeat bad technique, and avoid using heavy weights to prevent injury to the elbows. So that's really, really important. You don't want to hyperextend your elbows because then you're going to be out of action. Some bonus tips. Relax between your punches, so tension slows down your movements. Stay loose and relax between punches to maximize speed. This is something that many people, especially beginners, struggle to understand because it almost seems paradoxical that you need to obviously put effort into your punch but also not use muscular force, and you need to stay relaxed. So speed comes from relaxation and technique, not from having strong muscles. Core engagement. So keep your core engaged throughout the training to maintain your composure. If the core isn't engaged, it causes uneconomical movement and wastes energy. So this is very similar to what I recommended earlier in terms of the hollow body. When you're maintaining that composure, it's almost like a sense of armor around your body, or kind of a support that stops that energy being wasted. So if you throw a really fast shot but you miss, if you've got that nice strong core engagement, it allows you to reset your balance, maintain your composure, and get back on track again. And when I say engagement in the core, it doesn't mean you're tensing it like you're doing a workout. It just means holding it kind of rigid. And again, this is going to help you to balance, and you really want to rotate around that mid-core point to keep your techniques nice and tight and compact. Conditioning, and obviously incorporate cardio conditioning because it's just going to help everything else. The better your gas tank, the more of this training you're going to be able to do. So that means you're going to just level up faster, and everyone should be doing this kind of stuff. And as I said at the beginning, join the Telegram group for a free PDF breakdown of everything in this video by following this QR code, or alternatively clicking the link in the description. Thank you very much for watching, guys. This video is obviously relatively different to my normal type of content, but I'm experimenting with different styles of creating videos, and I really find this is a way for me to get the information much more concise and provide real value for you guys rather than just, waffling on about something if I go off on a tangent in a video. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments how you found it, and I'll see you in the next one.